Hey Francis, this is Rebecca Lane. I wanted to give you a little bit of feedback on your presentation. I am so sorry this semester's been so rough. This month has been a crazy month for all of us. So thank you for sticking with us, and thank you for sticking with me. And I hope that you do feel like you're getting something out of this class. So here I'm going to talk you through my feedback for what you've submitted. So first of all, I think you're off to a good start. You've chosen a template, which I know in this class we're trying not to choose templates, so you'll want to work around that. But one of the things this template is doing is you've got this nice dark background, we've got a consistent color pattern, and that's something that you can also create on your own. I did notice that you don't have any vocal, so we're gonna have to figure out how to make that happen. What you might be able to do is record your voice and then do a screenshot of you clicking through your slideshow, and then if you have a video editing software, you can take your voice and then just layer it on top of the video of your video recorded slideshow, right? And so you can kind of splice those together in a video editing program. That might be a thing that you can do. So, and then you would import the file from your phone and that kind of a thing. So go ahead and try that out, see if it works. I don't know what video editing software you have on your computer, so that's a thing that you're going to want to work towards. So I am glad that you seem to have written your presentation out because I know what you're trying to say. The consequence is that you have a lot more text than Nancy Duarte advocates. So I'm not sure if you've been able to see the examples, but this is an example that was available on YouTube that I sent to you to the class. And so notice, we're not looking at the voiceovers right now, but this video is actually, if you can see this right here, this video is actually, she goes between moving frames and still pictures of the work that she has created. So that's going to be a moving frame. She has video from class. These are stills that she's actually drawn. Okay, so she kind of alternates between that. Notice that she really doesn't have a lot of text. There's a little bit of text in that. She really uses minimal text. So that's something that you're going to want to think about. The other example that we have seen in class, let's see where it is, was this, okay? And as we click through, oh, come on, let's go. This proceps. And as we click through this, notice how he uses text, right? And so we've got a lot of movement that's happening. He uses a little bit of stuff that feels like video. But this is all stuff that can be done with slideshow, right? But notice it's minimal text on every slide. This is a transition you can find. This is a transition that's available within some of the slideshow programs. And I believe he does this on Prezi. So, or at least he integrates parts of Prezi in this. So something to think about there. But as you can see, the amount of text that you have here is significantly more than in either of the examples. So you're really going to want to reduce that. This picture I think is interesting. Sometimes comics get a little bit problematic because you've got text that is going to detract. It doesn't totally support, it'll detract from what you're saying. I love that you cited these. Go ahead and cite them on your last slide. You can cite everything on the last slide and that'll work. Also think about whenever you include images that you have found that already have text on top of them, they're already using a font. So one of the goals that we talk about is having a consistent font. And it's going to be really hard for you to match font found on a picture that you found online. So something to think about there. Although the thing that does work is you've got this text that's layered on top of an image, and that is something that I want you to think about, is how to layer text on top of image. Great. So we've talked a little bit about slides. Now I want to talk about what you've written here. Okay. And I'm imagining that what you've written is what you plan to say. So I'm a driven individual, takes failure as learning experience instead of quitting. Some of the values I have are leadership, loyalty, respect. When it's crunch time, I do not quit or buckle under pressure. In fact, I work harder. Okay, so these are 2 or 3 claims that you are making about yourself. So think back to that emotional storytelling assignment. You remember we had a story and we were making a claim, this piece of art affected me at this particular time in my life, right? So that is something that starts to build here. So if I say I'm a driven individual who takes failure as a learning experience instead of quitting, so tell me a story about a moment where that was true. Like were you, and it doesn't really matter what industry you're working in, right? At that point, this is a story about not quitting as opposed to a story about being a game designer. So where does that perseverance show itself in your life? And we're not looking at like 15 examples, just one example that you can tell in an expressive way. Okay? And we want to do that for every claim we make about ourselves. So you implement every day leadership, loyalty, and respect. So how does that play out in your life? Is there one example? Like, does it show in how you wake up in the morning? And if it does, tell me what that process is. And again, this is a limited time, so as we make claims, we want to make sure we can support them. What that means is sometimes we end up reducing the number of claims that we make about ourselves, right? We pick the one that is most important. And so something to think about. So your goals, aspirations, ideas for the future of the company. So provide 100% to the success and productivity of the work you would be doing. So what work? I don't have a clear idea yet, and I would like to. At this point, what work do you imagine you would be doing for this company? I mean, you're naming Unforgiven Games. That's cool. So what work do you imagine you would be doing? Are you a game designer? Are you an artist? Are you working on the marketing? Are you a team leader? Are you a programmer? Are you going to be doing coding? Like, what do you think you will be doing? Because all of those are really important jobs, but where do you see you? So eventually, you want to create, produce, and see your own game enjoyed by many gamers. That's cool. What do you do in the meantime as you are building up to that? So really, what do you think when you graduate, like that moment that you graduate, what do you think Unforgiven Games could hire you to do? Or do you already have a game and you want to pitch it to Unforgiven Games to produce it? So what is that exact dream? And I know this is hard, right? It's hard to figure out, it's hard to even imagine where you'll be at the end of this program. And that's one of the challenges of this assignment, right? Is to really look into your industry and go, okay, this is how this industry functions. This is what the culture is. Because the likelihood you're going to graduate and then you're going to immediately jump into this creation and production is pretty slim. I mean, it's possible, totally possible, but that would mean that you would have the money to produce and you'd have the money to sit and put into it and stuff like that, and the time, right? But otherwise, we want somebody to hire us. And so if somebody is hiring us, usually they have boxes that we might fit into for that. So ideas for the future of the company. Create a product so astonishing. Okay, so you want to create a product that's astonishing, but what's your record on creating things that are astonishing? So again, we're going back to your personal life. You want to do this, but what have you done that shows that you bring that quality to a team? to a creative project. It doesn't even have to be in video game design, but tell me an example of what you have. It's like if you've ever done interviewing techniques, it's a behavioral interviewing techniques. So you make a claim and then you go, hey, this is an example of a real life situation where I did this. So that's what we're looking for here. What I can contribute to the company. So an outstanding game design member. Okay, so show me an example of where you've done this or why you think you can do this. Okay, great. So you're bringing imagination, creativity, excitement, and hard work. So each of these claims, like where do we see this in your real life? I'm not seeing a lot of real life personal stories here. So we probably don't want like 20 real life personal stories, but you want to pick the top 3, right? That are going to actually show your creativity in action, how your imagination contributes to work environments in action. And it doesn't have to be paid work, right? Like if you're volunteering, if you're working around the house, like all those things are part of how we work in teams and with people. Knowledge and great work ethic. Okay, so knowledge, go ahead and name. Like, we don't want to get into a list of like 20 things, but specific knowledge, specifically, I learned these 3 things that are going to help me contribute to you. They're going to make you look awesome because you brought me on. Okay? This is how I will make you look good. And so this is how I will make you look good. This is how I will help you meet your goals. Is you're going to go to Unforgiven Games and you're going to be like, what is their work environment? What is their mission statement? What is their culture? What do they believe in as a company? And so some companies really want creative people. Some game design companies are like, yes, be creative and contribute. And some game design companies are like, we got our game plan. We just need you to code and do what we tell you to do. So you want to make sure that Unforgiven Games is a place that wants employees to bring their creativity, right? You want to make sure that that's the culture that wants that claim. Okay, so in Full Sail, you did this. You learned to embrace creativity, bolster your imagination, think outside the box. Okay, so you learned this, but your final slide needs to be that call to action. So let's look at, this is our plan, right? But the plan for the pitch is the structure that we're looking for. So at the end, we've got this call to action. This is the opportunity to get the audience to remember your purpose and what you can accomplish for them. So what are you asking the audience to do? So tell the game company what you want them to do. You want to work for them they should hire you as a game designer, as an artist, as a programmer, and you're going to make them look awesome because they believe in this and you're going to do this and you guys are going to be badass together, right? So think about that. And this call to action we can see happening here. So this is, again, this pro sups. We're going to go to the end of this presentation where he does a call to action, and he does it pretty fast. So let's see this.
The Pro Subs team needs a humble and dedicated athlete who will work as hard for your company as he has worked for himself.
And that's what he's told us stories. He's visually reinforcing that through he was a scrawny kid,
and that's
now he's
why
a really ripped guy.
Want to represent Pro Subs.
And he wants to represent Pro Subs, okay? So he's saying, you need to hire me to represent you. And this is specifically, I want to be a representative, right? So he's naming the position that he wants. He's reminding Pro Subs that he's talking to them. And he told them why why they should bring him on, because he's super dedicated and all of that. Okay? So that's the kind of stuff that we are looking for. I hope that this helps. I hope that maybe you can call tech support and they can help you through some of the some of the process for making that recording stuff work. And good luck. I think everything will work a little better now that the storms are out of the way. Fingers crossed for the rest of the hurricane season, right? All right, let me know if you have questions, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, Francis.